well. Again, once again, I appreciate and I thank you so much for this opportunity. Well, are you ready? I mean, are you set for the interview?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. But briefly, before I dive in, I just want to quickly read your bio, just what I have a belief of, what just an overview of what I know about you is just what I want to read here. I know that I don't have all the complete information here, but please permit me to just read this short profile bio of you that so far since we've had conversation I've known about you. So Mr. Ejike is a seasoned real estate practitioner with expert in evaluation, appraisal, property tax service, brokerage, economics development, strategic business solution. He's an Harvard business graduate of School of Design alumnus, which he graduated in 2006, and also is also one of the best men who came out from European Business School. He's one of the graduates there, and he's also passionate about continuous learning and also problem solving in different nations and across globes. In 2023, he made history as also one of the first black candidates who ran for the mayor of Dallas, and also he's a global affairs analyst who also specializes in politics in general, U.S. politics, economics, and administrations too of politics or government as well. And he's also a proud member of the Republic Party in United States. He currently also serves as one of the members of the Texas State Security Board, and also currently is spearheading one of the massive developments right in Martin King Luther Jr. Boulevard in Dallas, which is the Winner Tower project, a 25-story building project, which is currently ongoing at the moment, and it's a work in progress. So right here, I have here with me Mr. Ejike Okpa. We'll be diving into some crucial topic of discussion, but I just want to set the tone of why we're having the discussion. One of the one of the conversations or one of the messages I got, or yeah, I would say a message I got from Mr. Ejike was he in one of his usual message he normally sent to me. I saw that he talked about the five uh, the 5M that propels constant growth for America as a nation. And so this is one of the things that spur the conversations to let us have this interview here today. And these are one of the things we'll be discussing, and also other things that we believe that will also benefit Nigeria as a nation, or things that we also can shape the economic of Nigeria, and also the global view of things too as well. So these are one of the things we'll be having in this conversation within a short period of time. So right, ready for my question, Mr. Ejike. Are you ready for my question?
Hello. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I believe you can hear me now.
No, no. I listened to your generous introduction, and thank you for saying all of that. I don't even know what is out there on the internet about me. I don't Google myself, but for those who do, I say good luck with that. Um, I grew up in Nigeria. I went to college in Nigeria. I did my youth service and was an estate surveyor in Nigeria before I came to America. I would have come to America when I was 17 years old, but my father said no. He wanted me to go to school in Nigeria, get familiar with myself and Nigeria before I left. And so I stayed back, studied estate management at University of Science and Technology, Port Harcourt. And then after youth service, my father, I asked him, my father actually said, "Are you ready to go?" I said, "Yes." So I'm here I am. I live in Dallas. I've lived in the same area of Dallas ever for the 37 something years I've been here. I'm one Nigerian. When I came, I said I wasn't going to move. I'm going to stay in one place. And, that persistence and insistence has have really helped me, because I know Dallas. I ran for mayor, I ran for Congress. I have served in I've served on the boards and commission of, the local government to the county to the state to the federal. All of that is because I'm self-propelled.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I am not driven by degrees and stuff like that. I made grade one in Nigeria at the time when he made something. So academically I can fit in, but I like to put my knowledge to practice. I invest in relationships,
Mm-hmm.
because I need to understand the factor that human beings bring to make things happen. You can pile up on degree from here to Jericho. If you don't have the human factor, you ain't gonna get anything done. And
Mm-hmm.
and to me, that is one thing. I don't have it better than anybody, but it has worked for me.
Cool.
And so, that's that.
Yeah.
I like to say this professionally. I'm the only Nigerian. I hope your people are listening. I'm the only Nigerian who came to America after I studied estate management. Came here, got certified as an appraiser. Nigerians have valuers. America has
Mm.
appraising, and there's a difference. So no Nigerian has ever studied estate management, came to America and got into that profession the way I have. No Nigerian.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I'm proud of, and it's something that I can prove. I got certified in 1992, even before I became a citizen in 1995. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, one of the question that I believe was the cause of this interview was the 5M that propels the growth of America that we see today. So I just wanted you to help us break down those 5 M's that at least are the backbone or the pillars of the constant growth we see in
Mm.
America.
The 5M is, I again is something that I have through my reading, scholarly participations in stuff. I came up with that, and
Okay.
it's true. It is true. Um, the 5 M's is manifest destiny. Under the
Mm,
manifest destiny is that God has given us the right to do it, and then they can do it. And America can bring war to your country, but you can't bring war to America. It's
mm-hmm,
just that America is responsible for Liberia, so, moving freed black to Liberia, and they settled them there. America was responsible for Israel in 1948. So you could say that is couched under the phrase manifest destiny. And then you go to the Monroe Doctrine. Again, it's part of that we can move you. If we,
moral doctrine.
Monroe. If you look at an
Miles Moral.
example, Monroe, Monroe, Monroe
Okay.
doctrine, and example of that is the resettling of freed black in Liberia, and that's why the capital
Mm,
of Liberia. What's the background noise? That's why the capital of Liberia is Monrovia. Okay, so it was named after that president. Um, and then you talk about military. No other country in the world has American military might.
mm-hmm,
You know, they may not win any wars, they may not have won in all the wars they've been engaged in, but their military might is bigger than that of any country, not China, not Russia, not nobody. And so that is one of the aims. And then you talk about media,
yeah, they're big in
media.
media.
American media resources is bigger than that of any country. If they like you, they can make you look good. If they don't like you, you are in trouble. Um, of course, the almighty dollar. The almighty dollar is M as in money. No other currency in the
Mm-hmm,
world gets attention of the world than the dollar. Recently in recent years they were talking about the break. What is it? Brazil, Russia, India, China, some other stuff, and it hasn't gone anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. And the American dollar has become the preferred currency. Every country measures their economy on the dollar. Even China,
mm-hmm,
Russia. If you want to move money around the world, you move it in dollar. And so with those 5 M's, and then finally, this is one that may intrigue you. America will never go to war with any country that has a McDonald franchise. You know,
McDonald franchise.
yes, it's one of the
Wow.
is the toughest franchise to get. You could get KFC, you could get whatever else, but you can't get McDonald's. So if you look at China and Russia, they all have McDonald's. It's very unlikely America will engage them in a war. There will be a push and pull, and at the end, they're not going to fight each other
Mm,
because America believes if I break bread with you, why should I go to war with you? We can talk tough, but we're not going to be shooting at each other. So those are the M factors. And any country, you look at any country in the world, how many of them are going to have three of those M factors or even four of those M factors? Not many. China wouldn't have it. Russia wouldn't have it. Brazil, of course, don't. India don't. So
mhm.
you look at it. So this is what has elevated and made America to migrate to the plane where they are. We're not a perfect nation. Don't get me wrong.
Exactly.
America is not a perfect. In fact, we don't want to be perfect. We want to have challenges because when you have challenges,
Hmm.
then it makes us rise to the occasion of, okay, what are we going to do? Is it going back to look at the law we have in the books, or come up with new ones? And so that level of we are not perfect is what keeps us energized. It's what keeps us motivated. It's what keeps us keep going. It's never a boring country. We are
Exactly.
very resistant, resilient, and our
Hmm.
presidents are not His
So
Majesty.
hold up, please. Yeah.
Uh, our president is not the Majesty, is not Your Excellency, is not Your Royal Highness. It's just Mr. President. When America was forming itself, and they wanted to see, okay, what is it that we're going to call our president? Because
Mm.
a lot of them came from Europe, and they were looking at Your Highness or Your Majesty, and Mr. Washington, the first president, said no, Mr. President,
Simple.
and, and it's stuck.
Mm.
So unlike Nigeria, where you say Your Excellency, what is excellent about Your Excellency? Or other countries where they say your highness and your majesty. When you're in that political position, you should take the position of being a servant and not to be
Mm.
served. And so anyway, I've given you a background. If you have any other questions, keep shooting.
Okay, I have a little more questions to add. So the other question I have here is, seeing how everything is now, what do you see as one of the most pressing global challenges in the world we see today? I mean, haven't you, I mean, I've seen you traveled at least over more than 4 or 5 countries now since I've known you. And what do you think are one of the most pressing challenges in the world we see today? And how do you think Nigeria itself could also uh, be an impact? Like how might they impact Nigeria especially? How can those countries, how can they also have an impact in Nigeria?
Good question. I mean, it's hard to tell, what's going to make the world stable, what's going to make the world peaceful. Um, Countries, there are 200 or so countries in the world. They all have their leadership, they all have their issues, they all have their, what it is they can leverage. Remember, relationship is either bilateral or multilateral. We
Hmm.
have world organizations. What is their name? United Nations, which was formed in the 40s in response to what was going on, the European crisis at the time. But as the years have progressed and the decades have come and gone, how effective is UN? So what countries needs to do is to identify what I call the index of nations. If you have index of nations,
Definitely.
you go about, okay, who do you want to have relationship with? You can't have relationship with all the 200 and something countries. You have to pick, choose. And when you have that index, you say, what is it that they are doing you want to copy and paste? You can't paste anything, but you can
Hmm.
modify it to suit you. At the end of the day, what you actually want to do is to give the people that are in your particular country, which is defined by geography, certain sense of belonging and ownership and pride. But it's not to where it's like, oh, we're in a global village. Yeah, we're in a global village, we're not in a global country. because we don't have one passport, we don't have one
Mm.
currency. It's still divided, by the various currencies of those other countries. So what you want to do, form a union, and that union should be a union to collaborate and to cooperate and to be supportive. And you can do it across your region. Why are you concerned about the guy in South Africa? For instance, for
Mm.
Nigeria, you're in the West African region. Don't get this loose relationship. Oh, we are Africans, we are 54 Africans. We are 54 different African countries. And then in each country, we still have differences, ethnicity, tribalism, and blah,
Mm.
blah, blah. So just
Exactly.
look to your neighbor. Look to your neighbor, look to Cameroon, look to Chad, look to this, look to the people around you. Say, hey, how can we collaborate in order for us to do? Because before you do trade, trade is usually before we started doing, having airports and ships to take things further. Trade
Hmm.
was all usually limited by geography because it's your neighbor. So can you build that society, that's a regional economy to support yourself, and can you be the influence? The thing about Nigeria is just big for nothing. 200 and something million people, with the most educated of all Africans. Many universities. What does Nigeria offer? Does Nigeria influence Chad? Does Nigeria influence anybody? They don't, because Nigeria has been engulfed in internal conflict. From the time since, let's even go back to 1970. You were not born at the time.
Yeah.
So Nigeria since 1970, when the war and civil war ended. What is that
Hmm.
now? Coming on 55 years. And this the saying, a fool at 40 is a fool forever. I mean, Nigeria is more than Nigeria is past the 40 years. So is it from Gowon to Murtala Mohammed to Obasanjo to all the other ones after? What have they done? If they come to speak to you, how many of them have ever motivated you? Because you need a president that will stand before the people, not Africa, Nigerians, and speak with them, communicate with them to say, we are in this together. I'm not going to be going overseas for medical checkup if the majority of you guys are having issue. I'm going to be treated in this country. I'm not going to vacation. I'm not going to go have a mansion. But what do
Hmm.
you have? Every one of them, every little thing, they jump in the plane and go overseas. I met Obasanjo one time in Dallas when he came to speak about global health. And I said, Mr. President, your wife Stella died in Spain. Babangida's wife died in LA. Yar'Adua at the time, nobody knew where he died and was smuggled into Nigeria. I said, what is it? What is in those hospitals you go to look at that you can have in Nigeria? If you go to those hospitals and see all this equipment, you could say, I want every equipment in this hospital. You could purchase it and move it into Nigeria so that you can give the Nigerian doctor the opportunity to do what? Practice medicine.
Hmm.
But when every little, have a stomach ache, you are in the plane and go. But he said, "Oh, Ejike, and only you go ask me that kind of question." I said, I go abroad. Though. I go abroad 2 times every year for medical checkup." And I'm looking at him. I say, "You are the president of the most populous black nation in the world,
Shown in the world.
and this is how you are responding to such a critical question about health in your country." So that's what it is. It's every country has the right to develop to the extent they want, but you gotta do that with recognition of what your challenges are and then how you can overcome. Challenges are opportunities. It doesn't get any better than that. You want something to be not to be working, and so that way you can say, okay, I'm gonna make it work. So how is do you know, David? When
Hmm.
electricity, the first power plant was built in Nigeria?
No, I don't. I don't know when it was built.
1896.
1996.
18.
Okay, 1986.
No, no,
18.
no.
19.
1896.
Oh, 1896. 1896.
1896. America had their first power plant in 1882. So the difference separating Nigeria and America having power plant is 14 years.
Wow.
1882 and
Not up to 20.
1896.
It's not
So
even up
what
to 20 years.
I'm sorry?
I said it's not up to 20 years difference.
It's 14 years,
Yes.
1882 and
14
1896.
years.
Do the math,
Yes.
it's 14 years. But to
Yes.
look at it today, Nigeria doesn't have regular power. Nigeria can only produce maybe 6 or 7,000 megawatts for a
Mm.
country of 200 million people. So it's not like Nigeria hasn't had what other people have. They just haven't been able to manage it. So for
Mm-hmm.
100 and
Yes.
something years, electricity has existed in Nigeria where everybody's using generator. And then you look at Lagos, you live in Lagos or somewhere close by, it has no water system. Where you live in Nigeria, do you have water system? Is it not like, go fetch water,
You
go
go
buy
fetch
water?
water. Go fetch
Mhm.
water.
So these are the challenges, but there are
Mm.
opportunities. So how do you have water system? Water system is different from water supply. No city in
Mm.
Nigeria has water system. They have water supply, and water supply is just you put a pipe in a well and you start sucking water. That's not a system.
Mm.
So so Nigeria has what it takes to be beyond where they are now. But they are not thinking that way because, everybody worship the president. There are only 36 men in Nigeria who are important, the president and 36 governors. Everybody else is playing a role.
Mm.
And so you look at the ratio, do the ratio of 36 to 200 million and see how many. And it's not like
That's a lot.
it's not like Nigerians don't, they go to school, but they're not knowledgeable. There's a difference going to school and a difference being knowledgeable in order to use what you learned in school to solve problems. Nigerians just like to pile up on degrees, professor, engineer, doctor, blah, 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 yada, yada. Go look at where they live. Go look at the environment around them. Education is supposed to mentally improve you to be able to address things, not just for prestige. When I saw Jonathan, I mean, I met him after he was president. I said, Mr. Jonathan, what is this, professor, doctor, president? I said, you have risen to the highest political, position in the country. Why do you need to still identify yourself as a doctor and a professor? Who cares about those things? And he was looking at me. I said, yeah, why do you have to say Professor Jonathan? I mean, when people call you that, tell them, no, 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 sir, I am just Mr. Jonathan.
Mm-hmm. Simple.
And because how many people are going to be president in their life? But Nigerians like to over label and cloud their names by putting all this doctor, professor, engineer, blah blah blah. You see lawyers, they put in their business card, sign senior advocate of Nigeria. I always say, well, what have you advocated for Nigeria? You are more like senseless advocates of Nigeria, because you haven't done anything legally to move the prestige of Nigeria on the
As an
global
advocate.
stage
Mm-hmm.
as an advocate. So what are you advocate? You go to a little court and then you fight over, divorce and property issues. Well, you know that you're advocating for your client. You're not advocating for Nigeria.
They're advocating for their pockets.
That's their client.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I think that even draws me to the other question I intend to ask, which is, uh, what economic strategy do you think Nigeria can also put in place in order to, achieve a sustainable growth as we are moving on to, trying to trying to reduce the cost in petrol, trying to beat down the inflation within the dollar and naira and all these things. What do you think that, as Nigerians, what do you think are the economic strategies we can put in place or in terms
Well,
of policy?
let's look at it this way. Oil revenue is good for small countries. Okay.
Mm,
If you're a big country where your population is trending in the triple digits, oil is commodity is not going to be what's going to help you, develop. So
mm-hmm,
Nigeria has put so much weight. Oh, we are, an oil producing country. We are blah blah blah, yada yada. But forget that you are 200 million people. There is no other country that is a member of OPEC that has that population.
mm,
Saudi Arabia is, if you add up all the population of Saudi Arabia and all these other Middle East producing countries, it's not even the population of Lagos plus or your state.
yes, that's true.
And then the economy of oil is very simple. I don't care how you produce that, whether your crude is, heavy sulfur, or your crude is sweet bunny. The point is, how much are you selling it per barrel? If
Mm,
Nigeria is producing, less than 2 million barrels a day, you could do that math all day long. What are they selling it for? And then you account for, a return off or a return off and a return on, because Nigeria economy doesn't have the capacity, to uh, domestically produce the oil. So you have to have ExxonMobil, Shell, all these other, multinationals to come in there with their money and do this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna get paid before they pay you. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a financial model that cannot be changed because they are producing in your country. They're coming in with their money. They're going to pay themselves on the return on and return off, and then whatever is left between the cost of the barrel, what you sell in the barrel, and what they produce in it, then you split it in whatever the ratio is. So if you look at it critically, Nigeria gets about maybe $10, $15 per barrel because Nigeria is not invested in the production, as opposed to the people in the Middle East that they have the
Mm-hmm.
money and they will tell you, come on, come with your technology, we'll give you the money to drill.
Mm-hmm.
So Nigeria cannot move forward if the weight is on oil. They have to look at physical and monetary policies. They have to liberalize the economy. They already have 6 political zones. Make it a 6 regional government. Okay, let all the states in that thing begin to compete for what they're going to do in order to survive. The center, Nigeria, is too
Mm-hmm.
top heavy. Nigeria is too top heavy. The president of Nigeria should not have overreaching power to do what they want. They should be just, you give them enough money to do what? Run Aso Rock, look over the military, and then the police is the national police. And then if they want to go out overseas, you limit the number of times they can go overseas. The rest of the money should go to the regions. And so that economic model is a political thing you have to do. If your politics is not stable, your economy is not going to grow.
Also, there's no way.
The Nigerian political system is very unstable. You have the senators, the House members, and that's assemblymen. In fact, at the assembly levels, they don't do anything because the governor runs circles around them. At least at the national, you could see some semblance of some responsibility, but they are not. They are more like a tribal council. When you go to the National Assembly of Nigeria, you could stand over there and tell who comes from what part of the country. They are not there for Nigeria. They're there for their own people and their own state. That's why
Mm-hmm.
you see them dressed the way they dress. They dress ceremoniously, like they are going to a party, when they should be dressed like I'm going to do some work.
For
So, so
business,
the
yeah.
yeah, so the economy is not going to grow because there are not a whole lot of legislation or policies or programs that are being developed that will be beyond what the president thinks. Nigerian president didn't he just award a contract to one Shaguri man to build a highway from Calabar to Lagos?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
It will never happen in America.
Mm.
Why would you award a contract like that to one individual? Why? And he's a Lebanese Nigerian. Okay, how many Nigerians have actually gone to Lebanon and got a contract of $1 million?
No
Who are the
one.
people?
I don't think.
Who are the people running things in Nigeria? Lebanese, Chinese, Indians, Pakistanis, Turkish people. But how many Nigerians have actually gone to any of those countries and gotten any major contract? But they will come to Nigeria and they do the things they do because our political people are weak. Remember
Mm.
what I said? If your political structure is weak, your economy will never grow. So
Mm.
Nigerians enable that. It has not, and there's nothing in the book about economic development or economics that Nigerians haven't read, but they don't have the political will to say this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. The biggest telephone company in Nigeria is it not MTN?
MTN it is.
It's owned by South Africans. Nigeria only have 4% interest in it. So why should your biggest telephone company be foreign owned? So anytime they make the money, they convert it in the naira, in the dollar, and they ship it out. And that is why naira keep falling because there's too much pressure on the reserve to pay them. And then you go to the Nigerian stock market, and there are about 200 or so companies that are listed. Even Dangote, the so-called richest black man in the world, I mean, his refinery is not even listed, and there's no stock associated with any Dangote enterprises that is worth $1 a share. So here you say this is
Mm.
the richest black man or richest Nigerian. Okay, that's fine. It's a glorious title to have. But Dangote is a trader. It's not a sophisticated businessman, and he has been a beneficiary of government patronage. Remember, he was the one during Obasanjo that was bringing in the commodities, rice and sugar and
Mm.
everything else, and cement. He's
Cement,
a
yes.
he's a monopolist. If you were to open that market and liberalize it, Dangote will go away. He will fall. So
Mm.
he's a product of government, patronage, because he knows how to go over there and do what he does, and then gets rewarded. You don't need that in an economy you want to grow. You want competition. Competition is what brings down the prices. Talking about the fuel in Nigeria, how much barrels of oil does Nigeria need to refine daily in order to satisfy the domestic need? That is, before you start to export, you have to satisfy
Mm-hmm.
your domestic need. Nigeria needs
Yeah.
about 500 million barrels of oil a day. If they can refine that,
Mm-hmm.
and then the government say, okay, since the oil belongs to the federal government, so you produce it. When you get that from those who are producing it, you get your share, and then you say, boom, here's what you guys need to do. And then you could sell it at a discount. That discount is what is going to translate to the benefit to the Nigerians. And that's what's going to start to, pop the economy, because transportation is a significant part of every economy. People need to move, goods needs to be moved. But if you are
Exactly.
saying subsidy is okay, go refine it abroad and bring it back, we pay you, you are doing it backwards.
Mm.
Okay, so the refinery in Nigeria should have been, and then the federal government or the National Assembly should have passed a law that any refinery in Nigeria that is of certain capacity has to be publicly traded. That is, it has to be listed on the Nigerian Stock
Stock
Exchange. So that gives
exchange.
Nigerians opportunity to buy shares in those things, and there will be a governance rule to control what happens, so that they are not being, taken advantage of. Nigerians are being taken advantage of because,
A lot.
again, you go back to what I said. The political structure has to be stable before the economy can grow. Because any of
Mm-hmm.
these people are pimps. If you've read my things, I say it's called pimps. You know what a pimp is? Put in my pocket. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
it doesn't take a whole lot of them to. It doesn't take a whole lot to bribe a Nigerian. It does not take a whole lot. I don't care whether it's the president or the governor. This, if you give them certain amount of money, they're ready to put the country in a truck and ship it to you. you know because that's another sense of pride. A whole lot of them have their kids going to school abroad. That's why the universities in Nigeria allows, especially the the public universities.
Mm.
Everybody now has a university in their name, or Babangida University, or everybody throws a name. So the institutions that should give your country a sense of credibility, you are now being bastardized by names.
Names
I bet you.
and selfish credibility.
No, no, they forget, everybody's selfish, but you have to control it. Look at Ife,
Mm.
University of Ife now is called Awolowo. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
He could have gone over there and set up an Awolowo Institute, but not to change the name of the university. Lagos, Jonathan was going to change Lagos to Abiola, and they resisted him. And they've been trying
Mm.
to change the University of Nigeria and Ibadan. These are your legacy institutions. You should not tamper with them. If you want to
Mm.
honor people, honor them with an institute in the university, but don't change the name of the university.
I think the National Theatre has just been changed. I think that was last year. National Theatre that's at Stadium have been changed to Wale Soyinka something something Stadium.
Again, whatever it is they do, they can do all day long. The world don't care. That's why Nigeria is overlooked. 200 million people. Nigeria is one of the 10 top countries in the world that has a population of more than 150. But nobody looks at Nigeria for anything. Nobody. So you talk about Wolo Soyinka. I met him. I hosted him in Dallas in 1994 when he came to Dallas for something. I drove him and I said, Mr. Wolo, I said, why don't you, because if a Nobel Prize, the way we look at Nobel
Mm-hmm.
Prize winners, is on the faculty of a university. If you have a Nobel Prize winner on the faculty of a university in America, it's an attraction for a lot of reputation. I said, why don't you
Mm.
put out a request for proposal and ask certain universities, especially the original 13 universities, okay? Ask them,
Mm.
to host the Wolo Soyinka Literacy Institute. Because you're a Nobel Prize winner. Every year, you don't even have to teach a class. You could just, conduct whatever. But the university can say, hey, we have a Nobel Prize on our faculty. And Wolo
Mm.
Soyinka looked at me that way. So, no, So what has Nigeria gotten because Wolo Soyinka got a Nobel Prize?
Hmm.
The man is, I mean, he's aged now. And I saw him like one time. I was in Lagos, and I met, he was going to South
He's in his village. He enjoys
Africa.
his village more.
Whatever he is, but I met, I went to him and said, hey, I greeted him and said, hey, you remember me from the time you came to Dallas and I drove you around in my car? And he's like, I don't remember. And I said, well, he's lost his mind. He's lost his mind. But the point I'm saying is that all these things they go outside and get, Nigeria has not benefited from it.
Hmm.
Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is, now trade, what is it, Secretary General of World Trade Organization. Nigerians were jumping up and down. At the time, how much trade has Nigeria done because Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is at the World Trade Organization?
Hmm.
How much trade? So Nigerians get very excited about all this. Oh, a Nigerian is at UN, a Nigerian is at World Bank, and the important thing is that how about the life of the Nigerian in Nigeria?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Very
what
important.
matters. What is that lady in UK? Everybody's talking about Kemi or Temi, whatever. I said, well, why are you paying attention to her?
Kemi.
Yeah, why are you paying attention to her? Focus on the 200 million Nigerians who are trapped in a situation they don't know what to do. Salaries are not being paid. When they are sick, they go to hospital. The doctors don't care. It takes them hours to go from their job to their job. I mean, to go back to home. Where they live, there is no water, no sewer, no nothing. There's mosquito everywhere. You don't need Bill Gates to come and tell you mosquito, give you net about mosquito. Clean the environment. Clean the
Exactly.
environment. And when you clean the environment, the mosquito will not have the ability to carry the vector that causes malaria and injecting it. We have mosquitoes in America, but we don't have malaria because our
Hmm.
environment is relatively clean. So, but
Mm-hmm.
in Nigeria, when you see people pee on the street and the trash, the gutters are filled with stuff, well, you're enabling the mosquito. And there's no amount of net, that bigots will come over like, oh, we're giving us, what is it called? Giving us net. And then the World Health
Mm.
Organization is, oh, this is what. No, physically
Hmm.
clean your environment. A clean environment is a recipe to kill mosquitoes that carry malaria vector. That's it. And you don't
That's
need
it.
World Bank to do it for you. You do it for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you
Okay.
so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I really, really, really do appreciate. I would just wanted to ask. I know that we are, yeah,
No,
okay,
no.
we're
I
already.
mean, as much time as you have, that's fine.
Okay.
This is Sunday for me. I've been awake since 3 a.m. So I'm good.
So I know that you are currently writing a book. I don't know if it's done already or it's still work in
And
progress.
I mean, people have already asked me to write a book, and I just don't want to write a book for the writing's sake. I want to write a book that is going to be provocative.
I think you said the
In
name is Black or White, Black and White,
No, no,
right?
black and white. This the history of
Mm.
and I don't want to say Nigerian. It's history of coming to America and stuff. So I mean, I have something to say, but I want to say it to where if when it becomes part of a book or a book,
Mm.
people can read at it. Read it. You can like me. I don't look for people to like me. You know what I mean?
So
I
yes.
don't really care about that. I want to provoke thoughts, and when I write to provoke and not to appease. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, I'm a human being. I must have made some mistakes in my life. That is true. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't go around warning people, "Oh, we like you." If you don't like me, you're actually doing me a favor. I don't like you too. I move on. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not
Mm-hmm.
a popularity context for me, but it hurts me that I go back to Nigeria as often as I go, and I go to the neighborhood I grew up in. I go to the school I went to, and I see how physically depressing it is. And I was like, why? Where's the progress? People's mansion. I don't care. I don't care how big your house is. I don't care how big, those things don't make a country. What makes a country are the infrastructure that supports everybody. Regardless of your economic situation, you can still get on the same road and ride it. That's just like the man who's riding in a Rolls Royce. But in Nigeria, that's not the case. You go to, I mean, I went to University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, which is not far from my father's village, and I saw women, on concrete floor waiting to be attended by a doctor. And I was like, what the
Hmm.
heck is this?
Hmm.
I mean, Nigerians see those things. I mean, but to them, it's like, oh, they don't, it's because
It's
they have,
normal life to them.
yeah, 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 but they have closed their mind into what really matters. They
Hmm.
overlook things. That's why I said in one of my recent, writing that Nigerians can look at a dead body and say, oh, that person is sleeping because they don't want to be concerned. They can
Hmm.
see a dead body on the street and they say, "Oh, somebody's sleeping," because they don't want to challenge them to say, "Okay, no, that shouldn't be the case." Why? They move on
Hmm.
because everybody's in a mood, is in a mode, mental stage of, okay, what's my next thing? What am I going to do next in order for me to do X, Y, Z? They're
Hmm.
not internal looking. They're not domestic minded. Okay, we talk about slavery. They came in there and grabbed us, or however they grabbed us, whether we sold them or whatever. Do you know today, in 2025, if a ship were to bathe at Lagos Wharf and tell people, okay, jump in here, we're going abroad, will there be a stampede? That should tell the country something. If you keep saying, oh, slavery, colonization, what the white people did to you, you're not even talking about what you're doing to your own people. Such that most Nigerians today, if they get opportunity to leave that country, they're going.
Immediately.
They're going. They're gonna go. So what is if the president, when he get a stomach ache, he flies abroad for treatment? Everybody say, I want to be like him. I they go. So so
Hmm.
so so what needs to happen is the discussion. And leadership is not authority. Leadership is about influence.
Mm-hmm.
Most Nigerians don't have conversation with their parents. You could even say, Papa,
Yes.
well, what are we doing here? What is this? No. So if you can't even engage your own parents in
Mm-hmm.
a critical discussion about family issues, when they become your minister or something, they be looking down at you. A
It's
lot
only
of
money you'll
Nigerian,
be collecting from them.
yeah, the Nigerian political people look down at Nigerians, and then when they talk to Nigerians, there are three ways you can have a conversation with people: talk at, talk to, or talk with. Nigerians are heavy on talk to, on talk at. They talk to
Hmm.
you out of, okay, who are you? Who David? Look you. Okay, maybe you are somebody they think of, and they talk to you. But
Hmm.
most time they are talking at you. They hardly
Hmm.
talk with you. When you see Tinubu make a public state, when make a speech, which oftentimes he doesn't do a whole lot, or even Obasanjo, or even Jonathan, they are not talking with Nigerians. They are not They are talking, but they are not communicating. They are not giving Nigerians that hope. They are not telling them, inspiring them. You want to inspire your people. You want to say, we're going to build this number of roads and we're going to do with Nigerian engineers. And not to
Mm-hmm.
where when you do it, giving contract to Lebanese, the Indians, Chinese, everybody else. So what is it that these people are doing for you that your own people can do?
Hmm.
What is it? Is it not build a road, and when you have a whole bunch of Nigerians running around and say, I'm a civil engineer, professor, blah, 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 and they can't build roads? Then tell them to build it.
Mm-hmm.
But you go give a contract to some foreigner, and then the Nigerians start chasing them, begging them. Come on, you don't do stuff like that. You don't. There should be a prestige and a pride when you're dealing with your country people. You
Mm-hmm.
welcome foreigners, but you don't want foreigners to run your country.
Exactly.
The Lebanese are running Nigeria.
Chinese are also running Nigeria.
Everybody else.
Mm.
Everybody else. Because again, the Nigerian political people are easily bribed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
So
you so much. The okay, it's already telling me we have 8 minutes left, but I just want you to just give us a maybe something to motivate an average Nigerian like me out there to who will be listening to this at the end of this session, something that they can hold on to and still believe that yes, there's a future for them.
I mean, there's a feature for everybody, but that feature has to be with you being able to change your situation. Talk about your situation, admit to your situation, say, what can I do differently? but you can't do it by wishing. You can't do it by thinking, go to church and scream Jesus all you want, or go to the mosque and talk about Muhammad or Allah all you want. Those things, God is not going to make a special concession for Nigerians. He's not
Mm-hmm.
going to come in and say, "Oh, let me go help Nigerians. You have suffered." No, he's not going to do that. He's already giving you the ability of two heads and two everything that is giving the same person you run into the first solution. Do it. Apply yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Apply yourself. And by applying yourself, you're going to see some of that resources you have that you don't know that is there. But
Mm-hmm.
if you fold your hands thinking the manna is going to come from heaven, or believing that being a member of the Redeemed Church, you're going to get redeemed, that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
The redemption doesn't come until the individual wants to make a change, a different, you know.
True.
So all I'm saying to any Nigerian, I left Nigeria because I wanted to leave. My father was a chief. My older sister was the first lady of Gombe State. They wanted me to come home 1996. I said, I'm not coming. I'm not interested. You can have it. I was 13 years old when I said I'm going to go. I said to God, before I die, I want to go to America. I came here by choice, and I had opportunity to go back to Nigeria, but I'm not going. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my
Yeah.
son is a Marine officer. My daughter, I'm done. My parents are no longer alive. So what am I coming there for? But I can participate. I can be part of something that is different. But it's just not to be, oh, come home now. I didn't come to America on behalf of Nigeria. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't owe the Nigeria anything. I've never taken money from Nigeria to go to school. But my ancestry is my ancestry. My heritage is my heritage. But I came to be an American, not a Nigerian. And so anybody, if you choose to go, leave, because that's human nature. Because you want to go, but not because you are forced. Nobody forced me to leave Nigeria. Like I said, I was doing estate management, estate surveying in Port Harcourt. I was well to, I was settled in it. But I said no. When I saw all those things that were going on, my body, I was irritated by them. But that's like, this is not how to run a country. If I was somebody motivated by money and all this or that, I would have stayed in Nigeria. Like I said, my brother-in-law was a governor. I could have been over there
Mm-hmm.
running around, maybe appoint me this or appoint me that. But I said, no, I don't want that. That's not my life. You know. So, what do I say to Nigerians? Believe in yourself. Begin to engage your family members. Don't be motivated by the man who shows up and go to church and they do, salaka, God don't bless them because you get money. Ask questions. How did you make the money? What do you do? Well, most people are not going to ask that because you're already psychologically defeated. So if they give you a little rice, is it not that they
It
call it
goes mad.
palliative? Uh-huh. They give you palliative. I never even know what that word was until I started Nigeria started fooling around. I said, oh, palliative. Okay. You know, so they give you a bag of rice and something, something, and you say, thank you, Jesus. And that's one day out of 365 days.
Mm-hmm.
What's that going to do for you? So again, I for those people that are there, I wish them well. I don't have anything against them, but I have I am very concerned about how the politics and the politicians are messing up Nigeria, but Nigerians are there, if that's what they want, that's what you get. But I can't see myself living in that country because again, I am mentally rebellious. So certain things I'm gonna have to say something, and Nigerians don't like it when you are open-minded and they are vocal.
Mm. True.
They
True.
don't like it. So America is my home, Dallas is my hometown, and this is it. When I die, I'm going to be buried in Dallas because God will be offended that I'm already in heaven and I die. I'm going to be buried in hell. God will say, "What are you doing?" You know. So this is my home. Nigeria is my country of birth. America is my country of choice, and I am driven by choice. And not geography of my birth, but again, I work with Nigerians. I come
Yeah.
home and
True.
I share ideas. But for me to pack my bag and say I'm coming home, that ain't gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus and Muhammad cannot even convince me on that one because I'll tell them no, I'm not doing it.
Thank you so much, sir. I really, really, really appreciate. I'm flattered. I really appreciate, and it's an honor to have you on board here. I'm so glad, and I I'll push this information out there to every possible way. And once the video is being done, everything is done, I would share with you as well. I really appreciate your time and your insights on uh very, very crucial matters that has been discussed today. I really appreciate. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Well,
much,
thank you
sir.
for having me, and we can do this as often as you want. But good luck to you.
Thank you, sir. And also wishing you best of lucks in other endeavors that you also are pursuing as well. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Same to you. Thank you.
Yeah. You have a wonderful day.